Hello and welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast. My name is Dwayne. I'm the host and the producer. Today, we're going to do a couple highlights. One from episode number 10 with Jason Teegardin from 180 Design over in Carson City. And the other is from Kyle Hamlin. He's the superintendent of the Montcalm Area School District. We're going to mix a little business and a little education in the mix today. You can catch us on Google Podcast, iTunes, and also on YouTube. You can also check us out on Discover Montcalm Podcast on Facebook.
Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we're going to take a look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
What is 180 Design?
We are a graphic design company that prints large format printing. We do banners, vehicle wraps, LED digital signs. We kind of cover the whole spectrum of any kind of advertisement, basically.
What year did you start 180 Design?
2011.
2011.
Yep.
Now, when you started, what were you doing at that time?
At that time, I was a one-man show. Actually, a good buddy of mine, Adam Miller, actually my best friend, kind of had a handshake agreement with him. He has kind of had a little strip mall area in the corner of in his building, and I moved a printer in there with a small laminator, and I was a one-man show. And rent was cheap for my first 6 months, and he kind of helped me get on my feet a little bit. And I just got to the point to where I was working nonstop. I had a couple of local kids that were motivated at the time and interested, and they kind of gave me a hand until I was able to, eventually, about a year later, I bought a car lot right across the road from Adam at the Village Market there. And it was just an old car corners detail shop, used car lot, and we went in and kind of retrofitted the building to do what we needed to do.
We're here with Jason Teegardin from 180 Design from over in Carson City. What is unique about the Carson City area in your, be the travel guide for a minute?
I mean, the best thing about where we're at is we're centrally located. I mean, I can put a guy in a van and send him 45 minutes, an hour, any direction, and we can still service pretty much the entire state. That's been the best thing. A lot of my customers, I would say probably maybe 60, 70% of our business now comes out of the Lansing area, and I've got a lot of Lansing customers that have really, they've been with me since day one, and they've been hounding me about, how come you're not in Lansing? How come you're not in Lansing? Well, the best thing about where we're at is, it's small town USA, and it's a great network of people here, but I can also not be 5 hours from this guy, or I'm right in the middle. So like I said, we can cover, if I have to send a guy to Grand Rapids in the morning, they can go to Grand Rapids and do an install and still be back by the end of the day, and same for Detroit or Mount Pleasant or Traverse City or wherever we got to go.
Walk us through the process. Okay, I've got a vehicle. I come to you. I think I want a wrap.
Sure.
Walk us through what you do for that person. And I would guess that every vehicle and every design you'll custom quote.
Yep. So everything is completely different. First of all, we try to find out whether you're, commercial or custom. If you're a commercial client, obviously we look at your brand. If you don't have a brand, we create a brand for you.
Sure.
We basically look at color combinations, logo designs, and try to figure out, what exactly it is, what message you're trying to get across if you are, a commercial-based client. If you're looking for just a custom color, basically, you bring us your vehicle, we go over the vehicle in the parking lot with you. We can't wrap over any kind of like rust or any kind of flaky paint.
I did have that question because,
yes.
Because around here, Michigan, I'm sorry, I love it, but Michigan has a way of rusting out cars, and I'm thinking, oh geez, just throw a wrap on it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, a lot of our customers do think that, and they do bring us some things that have a lot of cancer on the outside that we can't really do much with. Depending on how bad it is, obviously that's the same thing. It's nice with the whole small town is we can refer you to a local body shop.
Why should somebody discover Montcalm?
It's just local, small, humble place, a nice community with a lot of great people. Everybody's very willing to help everyone out. I mean, everybody would give, I mean, almost everybody in town would give their shirt off their back for you, no matter what it was you needed. We've just built just a nice, friendly community of people that are just willing to make you feel at home, no matter if you're an outsider or not.
We hope you're enjoying our podcast, and we'll be back after we thank our sponsors. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, your IT and web hosting experts. westmichiganhelpdesk.com. And DW Video, your source for video production, websites, and your local videotape, slides, and 8mm film transfer specialist. dwvideo.com. Now, back to our interview.
For those that are out there watching this on YouTube, or you're checking out our podcast, we have Kyle Hamlin, the superintendent from the Montcalm Area Intermediate School District. Can you tell me what is an intermediate school district?
There are 56 ISDs, and they're either called ISDs or ESAs, Educational Service Agencies. You kind of think of economy of scale, and so we fill in maybe some of the gaps that the local schools don't cover. So for instance, we are responsible for the Career Center. We also cover some of the more difficult high need students that maybe a local doesn't have a classroom for that particular student. So, and I mentioned economy of scale. So what happens is if you have a couple districts with kids with similar needs, we often will have the program. And so we service local students
Okay.
at the Cider Center. So special ed, Career Center, and early childhood are really the areas that we hone in on.
Let's start with some of these services. Can you explain, like the preschool, the birth to 5-year-old, what does the ISD do to help that age group?
Yeah, years ago they started an initiative called the Great Start Readiness Program. So Carrie O'Connor is our director, does a phenomenal job in that role.
How many districts are in the Montcalm ISD?
There are 7 that you would think of, but there's really 8 public schools. There's Central Montcalm, Carson City, Montebello, Lakeview, Tri-County, Greenville, Vesterburg, and there's also Grattan Academy.
Okay. So that gives
Or sorry, it's not Grattan Academy, Flat River.
Then you have the needs of, I guess, special education.
Yeah.
That's the Cider Center. Some of what you do at the Cider Center, but you also help people in the school district?
Yes, yeah. So we also place, we have psychologists, TCs that support the districts in running their programs.
Okay.
So the goal is to keep students in their local program. So for instance, if I'm a student in Central Montcalm and I am having a difficult time and Central Montcalm doesn't have a place for that student, and they find there's the better fit for that student would be Cider Center. That's always the last choice, because your goal is to keep kids with their local community and their local kids. And
What is the role of the Career Center in the county?
career and tech ed trades. Obviously there was a swing years ago where I think there was a strong push to trying to get all kids to go to college. Mm-hmm. And I certainly know that was heavily pushed with, when you had ACT and SAT and all those, activities associated with that. So trying to get kids to get those scores up so they can get into college. But so now we've seen a swing back to CTE and trying to get kids into the trades, whether it be construction trades,
Health,
auto,
engineering,
digital arts.
Yes.
And also we have a educational course,
Yes.
or classes at the Career Center, trying to encourage kids to consider educational career. Another program, again, this would be special ed, would be our transition program. And we serve 18 to 26-year-olds. So these would be students who weren't in high school and that program is located in Stanton, and you may have interacted with them if you're in and around the county. That program really hones in on two things: life skills. So sometimes you'll pop into the transition center and they'll be working and cooking meals. Trying to work on getting some of our students as self-sufficient as possible. And then the other is working on work skills.
Thank you, Kyle, for coming in today. I mean, we talked a lot about the ISD and a lot of the different services. Those of you that are watching this on YouTube or you're catching it on our podcast, you can go to the Intermediate School District. It's maisd.com.
Yep.
And check out their website if you want to know more there. And on my behalf of having you come in, I want to thank you for sharing that with us. Remember to buy and shop locally.
Connect and subscribe to Discover Montcalm Podcast at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Discover Montcalm Podcast. To be featured in an upcoming show, contact Dwayne at 231-250-9624. Remember to subscribe at discovermontcalmpodcast.com.